I want it to look like the way I want it to look. And it won't let me make it look that way.
Dang nabbit.
This is what happens when you're 9 hours and 20 minutes in to
That's
an
true.
all-day broadcast.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna have to live with it like this. All right. Hey, are we ready to do a show?
Yeah.
Are we
All
ready?
right.
think
Yeah,
we
we have Varun Indugula coming
Yeah.
on. Yeah, Pim, you're right. I mean, being compared to Camille or Jen is not a bad thing.
Oh,
I
is
agree.
Pim on? Is Pim on?
All day.
She's been
Pim
on
has
all
been with us
day, and we've
all
been
day.
talking to her off
Pim
and on.
is a champ.
Hearts and
Pim
croutons,
is the great.
Pim.
Pim, I'm gonna
Yes.
get up. This is for Pim. Pim is gonna see if it picks it up.
Yeah.
Biggest
Pim
hearts
gets
ever,
hearts.
biggest croutons
Come
ever.
on, come on, hearts. Where are you? Where's my heart? Oh, it's not working. Anyway. She's the best. She's been with us. We are sitting at let's see. Last update was 81,000
Oh my gosh.
on our way to 100. So
At the end of this, I'll give you an update. We'll pull some numbers at the end.
awesome. Just know we love you, Pim. You're just the greatest. Okay, here, let's do a show.
Welcome to the Story Aid Podcast. My name is Brendan.
And I'm Jen. On this show, we talk about all things Williams syndrome. We're excited to share our community with you. Thanks for being here.
And I faded down. Okay, how you guys doing?
Great.
Doing
Great, good to
well.
see you. How was your Saturday? You've had a busy Saturday.
I've had a
Yeah.
busy week. Yes, I've had a busy week. We're at the end of school and all the end of school activities.
Sure. And then so we have end of school stuff, but then you are also probably getting ready to go on a big old trip.
Yep, we are. We are. Are we ready? No, we are not.
Well, I thought about you and Stella quite a bit this week.
I
Um,
know. We're so sad.
Yeah, well, I mean, Stella would have had a ball. It was very much. This was a pretty joyous camp. I mean, there were everything from horseback riding to rock wall climbing to fishing to crafts, pottery. We had ceramics. We haven't talked about ceramics.
That was my favorite part.
It was. It turned out to be one of mine too. I didn't realize. I tried to make Bennett a ceramic typewriter. And it's a little sad looking, but I think you can
Super cool.
you can clearly tell it's a typewriter. Hopefully it'll be able to make the trip home. I left it outside so that it could cook in the sun.
Mine are in the car too.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
to try to dry out some more because it's air drying clay, so it's meant to just sort of
Okay.
be out and do that.
So you don't use a kiln.
No, they had a kiln there. So like if you were, I guess maybe that's like a price tier above what we got is getting kiln service. Yeah, the ceramics archery. I am a full on archer now. I need to go get a bow and arrow and things. I had so much fun. We had a little friendly competition between the counselors in our cabin, and I won, and now I'm hooked. And all I have is like the Disney's Robin Hood theme going through my head, and I'm gonna get a little. Remember how I've been looking for a hat to wear on the cruise? Maybe I just get that little Robin Hood hat with the feather, and just become that guy who wears that kind of hat.
Be that guy. It's true.
You did say it's your favorite Disney
It
movie?
is my favorite Disney movie of all time. Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Stella was really sad, you guys, about missing camp. Like we had been talking about it, and then the pictures started coming of. It was like, wait, this is happening without me, and I was like, yes, you know that. And it looks like it was way more fun, to be honest, without us. And I'm very sad.
No, Jen.
Like, look at all this fun. Maybe it's just
Yeah.
that's how the East brings it.
Well, some of the things that we learned at camp and some of the things that we did at camp are absolutely going to be integrated into the convention next year.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
And for the adults and for kids and teens.
Yeah.
This was a good week. We obviously we can talk about it more at some other point, but it was this was cool. This was fun.
Yep.
Obviously a very different camp, but
Yeah.
but it was great. So this week, of course, our podcast is going to be on. We are in the weekend for Williams Give-A-Thon. We are in. See, Sarah and I. If you are listening to the audio version of this podcast, Sarah, Schaefer, and I are in Norcross, Georgia, just outside Atlanta. And we are in our 9.5 of this 14-hour day. We've been going at it since 8 a.m. It is now 5:10 p.m. And we've had guests in the house here with us. We are coming off a week of camp. So we're already tired, and now we're more tired, and things are getting punchy.
Tired. Yeah.
But in such a wonderful way.
It is. Best tired ever.
Best tired ever. We are having the podcast. Jen and Brendan have taken time out of their Saturdays to join us, and we have a great guest. It actually worked out really great. Varun Indugula he lives in North Carolina. He's tremendous. He reached out like one of the many people that we are so lucky to have. And I'm just sorry, I gotta pause here a moment. I'm just seeing a comment in Facebook from from J Chap, our colleague, Jen Chaplin, who says that it sounds a bit dodgy. Literally, me with a bow and arrow. Yeah, I normally would have just let that go, but that's too good a dad joke. I gotta, that's really great.
And what a zinger.
That was good. That would hit the bullseye.
Ching.
Moving on.
So, but yeah, we have Varun. Varun leads our family support network sibling group, and he has a brother with Williams syndrome. Prannoy, I'm probably butchering it. I apologize, Varun. Varun will come on and correct me here. Normally, we do this part of the show after the interview, and so I get all the pronunciations correct.
Yeah.
But we're actually doing this in chronological, like we're doing it live. And so that was, because I'm here, Jen Chaplin, I'm here all afternoon. Thank you. Tip your servers. What do you guys say? Should I go ahead and bring in Varun?
Yes.
Please.
Okay, this is where I would normally introduce. You know what we can say for the first time on a live podcast? Thank you to our sponsor, Inner Sense.
Yes, Inner Sense.
Look at that. Look at Jen with her awesome summer haircut. By the way, you look fantastic. Love your hair.
You look great, Jen.
Love the haircut. How are you feeling about it a couple days in?
I don't know. It's feeling fine. Oh,
Stella!
Hi, Stella.
it's here.
Yay!
Everybody's on here.
Hi, buddy.
Yo,
What do you say?
what's up popping in here?
Oh, what's popping in here? That's what she said.
What's poppin'?
What's popping?
Food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I forgot. Sarah.
Hi, Sarah, and hi.
Hey.
You guys are small on our screen, so see.
I bet, yeah.
Teeny tiny.
Yes. I was telling them you were sad about camp.
I was.
I know. I thought about you so much this week and like, oh my God, I wish Stella was here to do this. But I also understand because you get to go on this amazing, awesome trip. Are you getting excited?
Yeah. Mommy, what did they do in camp this year?
What did they do in camp? We were just talking about it. You missed it all. They did so many things.
Yep. There was horseback riding. There was archery. We got to make stuff with clay. We got to go fishing.
Want some horseback rides?
Yeah, let's see.
Cooking.
Cooking. Oh, we made let's see. Jalapeno poppers were made. Chocolate lava cake. Salsa, fresh salsa with ingredients from the farm.
Pizza.
They made a pizza. Yeah, there was all that stuff. Lots of swimming.
Wow.
Even on cold, rainy days. Swimming in the rain. There was some swimming in the rain because there was no lightning or thunder. They were able to swim in the rain, which I've always thought was pretty cool.
Paddle boards, paddle boats.
Paddle boards, pedal boats. This guy, me, I got out on a paddle board and made it. I made it to a standing position
Yeah.
and then needed to sit right back down because I realized, oh yeah, no, I cannot sustain standing on this. But never fell in. I luckily never fell in,
Okay,
so I was very proud, very lucky. Yeah, what else? We had a carnival with games. It was great.
Carnival.
And Lemieux, Miss Ann, Brendan's mom, Stella, congratulations on your school award.
Oh,
Congrats, Stella.
yeah, it was
Congrats,
pretty
Stella.
cool.
Congrats.
Thanks.
That's fantastic. Okay, well, we got a wonderful sidetrack. So happy you are here, Stella.
Hi, I'm Morgan Jane Starkman. I am the daughter of Greg and Joanne Starkman from Inner Sense Organic Beauty, and I'm so happy to tell you something really special. The Hair Renew Scalp Hair Bath and the Hair Renew Soothing Conditioner from Inner Sense Organic Beauty. These clean, safe products help take care of your scalp and hair. They make your scalp feel calm and renewed. I love how they make me feel cared for, and I think you'll love these products too. Let's take care of our scalp and hair together. Try them today and save 15% on your first purchase with my code Morgan15 at InnerSenseBeauty.com.
I'm gonna bring Varun in. Here he comes. Here comes our. See, normally I'd be like, get back to where it started. And I'd put in some sort of Tommy Barbarella song here. Yeah. So Varun, hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, hello. Happy weekend for Williams.
Happy weekend for Williams.
Varun, how are you?
Hey, so nice to meet you, Brendan, Jen. So happy to be on and talk to y'all. I'm hoping you guys are having a good Saturday. I'm super stoked to be here with y'all.
Yeah, it's been good so far.
Yeah, are you wearing a Williams syndrome shirt? Look at you.
I got my sweatshirt on. This is my go-to.
Repping.
Yeah.
Good one.
We like that. We like that. So I haven't met you befard I've heard so many good. Oh, Stella hasn't met you either. This is Stella.
Hi.
Yes. Can you tell Varun how old you are?
14.
14, yeah. And so you're running a family support group. Thank you for that. That's pretty awesome. Siblings?
Yep, I run the adult siblings, so 18 and up.
18 and up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell everybody.
Jen, sorry, I gotta put a pause on you.
Oh no.
We have to start the interview though, and we come out, it fades up, and usually it is Brendan who goes,
I'm off.
We're off schedule. Okay, Brendan.
oh yeah, this is Wild West time here. We're a crazy town.
Wild West.
Yeah. Brendan, give us your patented Brendan Lemieux beginning of the interview.
All right. Well, hi, Varun. How are you?
Doing good, Brendan. How are you?
Doing well. So for those who don't know who you are, why don't you take a second to introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what you do in the Williams syndrome community.
Absolutely. So to anyone who hasn't met me before or known me, my name is Varun. I'm originally from New Jersey, grew up there, and I've been in North Carolina for about 13 years now. I have an older brother, Prannoy, who has Williams syndrome. And by the way, Joel, you nailed the pronunciation, so no worries about that. But yeah, I work with the Williams Syndrome Association and the Family Support Network. And like I said before, I help moderate and facilitate the adult siblings group, obviously because of my connection with Prannoy, and it's been a blast.
Yeah. So how did you get in? Obviously we know how you got into the Williams syndrome community, having a brother, you're automatically in. But how did you specifically land yourself in this role?
Yeah, I think what was it? It was maybe the end of 2023, around November, December. I wanted to get more involved with Williams syndrome because of what I was doing in undergrad studies. I studied neuroscience, and I said, I have this connection with my brother. Let me get more involved with the WSA and see what they're doing. And I found the Family Support Network, and I believe it was the Williams Autism Dual Diagnosis meeting. I just signed up. I sent an email to Joel, said, "Hey, I'm a student at UNC. I'd love to kind of observe and shadow this and see what's been going on just for my own studies and my interest." And eventually that led to me speaking with Joel and saying, "Hey, I'd love to get more involved." And this was around in December of 2023. And he said, "Well, by the way, we have this thing we're building up. It's in the grassroots, but we're building up in a siblings group." And I'm like, "What are the chances?" It was, the stars aligned on that one. I said I would love to be involved. And we've hit the ground running since then.
That's awesome. So, hey, I know, I was like thinking, did you shadow one of the teen we talked about, like teens with Williams syndrome?
I did, yeah. I think I shadowed one around that time as well.
Yeah,
And
I think I remember that. I remember you from that then because you didn't have your screen on during that time. So now it's like nice to
I was
put
just a fly on the wall. I didn't want to interfere,
You
but
were.
I'm talking now, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So your brother, tell us how did you pronounce his name?
Prannoy.
Prannoy. Yeah,
Mhm.
tell us about Prannoy.
Yeah, Prannoy, he's awesome. He's my older brother, like I said. He's 5 years older. He was originally born in India, and then when my parents moved over to the US, he came over with them. I was born in the US after that. But Prannoy's interesting. He's awesome. He's, my best friend, one of my closest confidants. And I talk a lot about him in the meetings and all the ups and downs of being his brother and his caretaker and everything involved with that.
Yeah, yeah. I just went to India in January.
I heard you attended a marriage there. That must have been awesome, I hear.
It was a crazy experience. But I was one of the things that I found so interesting was that wherever we went, it seems like if people had like a child with a disability, they were always like out and about in the community. They were like with them at the store, like at their job. It was like people with disabilities were very visible, and I thought that was super cool. And I enjoyed my experience very much there. What's your age difference between you and Prannoy?
Prannoy is 5 years older than me. I'm 23 and he'll be turning 28 this year.
Okay.
Wow.
And so you guys grew up US.
Hmm.
Yeah. And how was that journey growing up with a sibling with a disability?
It was interesting. I think this is something that sticks out to me a lot is that Prannoy was diagnosed when he was 19 years old. So it took a long time for us to figure out that
Okay.
Williams is at the center of all of this. But growing up, we had always, or my family had always managed, speech therapy and IEPs and stuff like that. And I had always known that Prannoy's education was a little bit different and that he was, developing in a different way. And over time, as I got older and more aware and just matured in general, I started to help out more with, hey, I can take him to work, or hey, I can even chaperone his cardiology appointments. And to this day, I'm still getting more involved, and it's been really awesome and a privilege to step into that,
Yeah.
have that experience in the U.S. Yeah.
19. How did that happen?
It was interesting. Prannoy had just finished up high school right at 18, and my parents were concerned. In that time, there's a lot of milestones happening, there's a lot of transitions, and they said, given his health, we've always managed his cardiology that's been congenital since birth, but we really want to see, we want someone to see him about his short stature and his height. So
Mhm.
they took him to an endocrinologist, and his pediatrician had recommended that. And the endocrinologist said, "Hey, you might want to go get some genetic testing done because of his heart disease and his unknown reason for his developmental growth being a bit different." And so went to the went to the genetic testing lab that was over at Duke, and they did a CMA, a microarray, and or at 19 years old, he was diagnosed with Williams syndrome.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm thinking like we're coming up on Stella's. I've coined this term. We should trademark it, Joel. Diagnostiversary.
Yeah.
Stella was actually diagnosed at 5, and
Mhm.
so we're like almost 10 years. So I'm thinking like you said your brother's 28.
He's 28. Yeah, so
Yeah. So we probably got diagnosed around we collectively,
Yeah.
us fringe people, we got diagnosed at the same time. And then Brendan was diagnosed
Woman.
at 13.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like the
That
term diagnostiversary. I'm gonna have to steal it.
diagnosis is where it's at.
Yeah.
You can do that. I'm so interested in this because, 10 years ago, I mean, so what are we in 2025? That's 2015, right? And so it is still surprising to me that those kind of stories happen. I felt like at 5 that it was a huge miss that like we hadn't caught Stella's Williams syndrome. She had been to a lot of different
Mommy.
doctors. She had seen a lot of like specialists, right? OT, PT, and the like, and nobody had ever caught it. And it wasn't until somebody that had they had taught a student with Williams syndrome, they said, I think this is what Stella reminds me of. And then I looked it up and, we worked backwards into a diagnosis. But I'm curious at 19, with your brother being, coming out of high school, like that's already such a time of change. Like how is that dynamic in your family?
Yeah, it was kind of a shock. My parents didn't expect to be referred to genetic lab testing, and they definitely didn't expect something called Williams syndrome. They didn't really have any exposure to it. So like you said, right out at 19, it's something that wasn't really built into his identity as he grew up, and our identity as a family with someone, who has Williams syndrome in it. And I think it's interesting because that's still something we're folding into our lives and all that. He's getting more involved with Williams syndrome along with myself. But like you said, it's a big, thing to digest, and it's like, wow, this has been a core part of Prannoy, that has just been missed for so long. But right after that diagnosis, I think my parents got involved with the WSA within maybe a few weeks, just to learn about it and say what's going on, what can we do to, prep ourselves for this.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause like, right. I mean, we were the same right away. It was like we were connected with the William. Actually, it's kind of funny. So somebody said, Stella reminds me of somebody who used to teach with Williams syndrome. I went to the car, Googled it. All the stuff came up about the Williams syndrome association. So of course, like I just started reading it and I was like, yes, this is what I think she has. So I worked our way into a diagnosis. But when we finally got like our official diagnosis from a geneticist, they pretty much just like printed out everything from the WSA and handed it to us. And I was like, yes, I've already seen all this. Thank you. And we're going to our first convention. I think it was just a couple of months later that we went to our first convention and met other individuals with Williams syndrome. And it was really special. So it's good to hear that your family did the same thing. What was that journey like then, getting connected to a community that you didn't know for 19 years?
It was interesting. Yeah. I know, especially with my parents, there were a lot of questions that were answered, but a lot more questions that arose. What can we do? There's a lot that lines up with, he has a bicuspid aortic valve, and to see that be pretty common with Williams is, it was like, okay, things make sense. His love of music and his ability to recite songs like no one's business, like, oh, that makes sense. But then also just learning about Williams and what the future might hold. They're especially on top of making sure his anxiety and his concerns for the future and things like that are under control, because those are obviously a concern for everybody. But with him, they've always been something that my parents wanted to stay on top of.
Yeah.
Like I said, with more of a recent diagnosis, it's something to still kind of folding into our family identity as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were 14 when Prannoy was diagnosed. And then so I'm always interested when I meet siblings. And I was I was on a podcast last week with the Birch sisters. They're a sibling dynamic with one with Williams syndrome, one with that. And I'm like, did you guys get along? Did you get along? Because Stella and her sibling, we're kind of a hot mess and struggle, don't we? You struggle with your sibling?
I sometimes.
Yeah, you sometimes do.
And I feel that way.
You can feel that way. How did you feel about that, like growing up and then going into this diagnosis along with your brother?
Yeah, I think leading up to, like you said, I was 14 when he was diagnosed. And at that point, I kind of still felt like I was just the younger brother in that role.
Okay.
I knew that I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me was like I'm progressing with education, educational benchmarks a lot faster than he is, and I was aware of that. But I was still the, annoying younger brother to Prannoy, and he still probably thinks that of me. And that dynamic really changed when I got to high school, and I learned a lot more about biology and genetic counseling and then just everything that comes with Williams and all that as well. But I think he'd also agree that he has some problems with me and he's allowed to feel that way as a sibling to me.
Do you guys get like, was it harder when you were younger and then it gets better? Just tell me it gets better. That's what I need to know.
Does.
It got better. I was I was a bit of a pest to him and all that, but my position now and connection to him is a lot stronger and the strongest it's ever been, and I can only see it getting stronger.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Did it shape you said you're in neuroscience?
Hmm.
Okay. So how did it shape like your journey into this field that you're now like, I don't know what you're doing in neuroscience. Are you in graduate school still? How does it work?
Yeah, I graduated from UNC. I studied neuroscience, like you said, last year. I'm at Duke now doing graduate studies.
Okay.
But it was a big part of that choice. I knew Prannoy had some kind of developmental disorder, intellectual disorder growing up, and I knew that there were cognitive changes that he had. And getting more aware of that as I grew up really sparked a curiosity in me, both to research it and understand, is there a path in maybe medicine? Is there path in genetic counseling for this. And so when I got to applying to colleges and, there's a box you check when you're saying what major are you interested in, I was like, maybe biology, but that's a little too vague. I think I want to do neuroscience and really focus a lot on this thing that's defined a big part of my life and defined a big part of my brother's life.
Really dig into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And you were mentioning earlier that like you see yourself. Do you have other siblings in your family?
It's just me and Prannoy. Yeah.
Okay, so you are anticipating that you will like at some point like be more of a like supportive caregiver in his life. That's something you and your family are already talking through.
Yeah, talking through a little bit about it. We just renewed some power of attorney papers, and I just let my parents know, like, hey, maybe not right now, but at some
Not right
point, I'd
now.
like to like hop onto those, and I at least just want to know what your guys' role is, what my role would be. But even smaller things like I'll drive him to work,
Yeah.
or maybe I'll visit a cardiology appointment with him and just review the notes that get sent home, and maybe I'll speak with his job coach and say, hey, how are things going with Prannoy? What's he feeling like? Because sometimes he'll tell her something and he'll tell us something different. So just trying to be as involved as I can be without crossing a boundary or trying to take on something that I'm not ready for.
Yeah, or be the annoying little brother because
Yeah.
that's what.
I don't know if that'll ever change, especially if you ask Prannoy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So this sibling group that you're running, tell us about that. I'm so curious to know like what kind of things come up on a call like that when you're managing a relationship. I mean, obviously for me as a parent, I can speculate some of the things that ones might say, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that I just need to prepare myself now for what Greer is gonna. My younger daughter's named Greer. She is 3 years younger than Stella. So like that minute she turns 18, she'll love to get on your call. I just need to know like
Mommy.
what things come up on these calls.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about a lot. The biggest thing is obviously balancing, conceptually balancing, being a sibling, but also maybe being a disciplinarian, maybe being someone who manages finances for the person, and then kind of the connection you have with your sibling that changes as you take on those responsibilities. Me and my brother only thing we used to talk about was, hey, how's school? How's this? How's that? He likes NASCAR, so we talk about NASCAR. Um, but when I got to high school and post-diagnosis, it'd be like, hey, how are you feeling about your cardiology appointment coming up? How are you feeling about, because he started working, everything good with finances? Do you want to talk about how to, invest in a 401k, invest in maybe an IRA or something? And it's not really discussions you have with another sibling another sibling who doesn't have Williams.
Yeah.
Right.
So just balancing that. And then we also talk about things like how do we connect more with a sibling who might be living 30, 40 miles away, or maybe even thousands or hundreds of miles away, balancing things like long distance caretaking and things of that nature. But it's really a potpourri of different topics that come up. And the good thing is we have a lot of, frequent flyers in the group that come back and say, "Oh, my sibling just did this," or, "From last meeting we tried this and it worked," or "It didn't work." And we really keep progress like that too.
Yeah. I loved what you were saying about how you guys spend a lot of time talking about like how to connect with your sibling. I mean, I think that that's something that even younger kiddos clearly struggle with. And even I know Stella's 14 and even like in her school and community, it's you can see it. It's hard for students to know how to interact. And one of the interesting things that I've seen with Stella is that like as she's gotten older, some of like the ADHD, like inattentiveness stuff has gone away, but like the anxieties are increasing. So it's also like how do you manage that, right? For a sibling or a friend with high anxiety. And I think that those tips are really helpful. So that's not going to go away, is what you're saying. But like siblings older than 18 are still going to need that advice.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you share with us like any good nuggets that have come up that like things that you've learned as leading the group, or things that you feel have been impactful?
Oh yeah, I can promise you that I probably learned the most out of those meetings. I'm a
Sure.
quote unquote moderator, but we have a ton of people with a lot of experience as siblings. But we also have people who maybe they just found out their sibling was diagnosed last week and they got involved then the following week. And so one of the best tidbits I can probably bring up is it's good to or it's good to evaluate how much you want to fold your sibling into maybe your own social life and things like that. That's something that comes up with in the group is like all of my friends are all of my siblings' friends, and sometimes it's hard to balance that because maybe I'm a disciplinarian one day or 1 hour and a sibling another hour. And so having a good, thorough discussion and open communication with your sibling about, hey, like, do you want to join our friends on this trip, or do you want to maybe, have your own friend group or something like that? And kind of identifying like what are you comfortable with, what is your sibling comfortable with, because there have been times where it's like the sibling relationship sometimes gets strained because
Yeah.
you spent weeks tackling issues about the sibling's health or the finances and things like that, and it's like you sometimes forget to really connect with them as a friend and as as a brother or sister,
Right.
and so tying that into our conversations has been really important, especially for me to learn because that's something I'm grappling with is, I'm managing his finances a lot more and I don't want that to define our relationship, for the, from the day I was born, I was his sibling and his brother. So that's been
Yeah.
something that's really impactful on me.
Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah, Brendan, do you like struggle with that, like boundaries within your sibling relationships?
No, my sister's older, so her and I actually have a pretty great relationship, and my stepbrother is older too, and he I don't see him that much because he lives in California, but I see my sister all the time. She lives about like an hour and a half away from me, so in
Yeah.
fact I'll probably see her tomorrow. So yeah, we have our dynamic is pretty good, and when we were younger, things were a lot different, but we're both musicians and we both play in the same bands together, so we've kind of had to like work through all of that, like not when we're playing music together, just like do it as a separate thing and work through it all. But yeah, we're in a really good spot these days, so it's
That's
good.
awesome to hear, Brendan.
It's good.
Has there
It's
ever
really good.
mentioned, kind of wearing different caps or having different roles or things like that? It sounds like you guys have a really awesome and tight relationship.
Yeah, yeah, we're in a good spot. I just spent uh her birthday with her. I
Oh,
played a gig with her on her birthday. So that was pretty awesome. Yeah, and yeah, she's got 3 kids, so she has her own life, and we have our own lives, and it's good.
Did you find that you guys were like more or less connected as you were younger and that that's changed over the years?
Yeah, I mean, especially because of like being misdiagnosed and
Mhm.
then getting properly diagnosed, then some realizations happened and she was like, "Oh, okay. You know, this is it's, It's interesting. It was an interesting dynamic back then, but now that everything's changed, everything is good. So yeah,
I'm like, does it get better
it
as they get?
does. It does. It will. You just got to give it time.
Yeah,
You just got to give it time.
can agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
When Prannoy was
I,
diagnosed, that really set us on a path for myself as well. And I'm so thankful. I'm definitely gonna celebrate that diagnosis anniversary.
Yeah.
yeah.
We have our disagreements, whatever. We work through it. We move past it because we're both adults.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, oh, it's way better than it was.
I know it's like things that I wonder. I'm like, is it because there's like, is it different when you have a same gender like sibling relationship, right? Like where you, Brendan, have like two sisters, right? Where
Sister and a stepbrother.
Varun, you and Prannoy are brothers, and Stella and her sister, they're same gender. So I'm like, is there more intensity there or more friction in that relationship because of that? And yeah, maybe because you had another sibling, it was helpful because you had like somebody could always be like a balance, right? If there was two of you fighting, there's like a third person, unless it was three, like 2-on-1.
No, it was
Moderate.
never like that, because my stepbrother lives in California, and before that he was in Colorado and stuff. So he's about the same age as my sister. My sister's 7 or 8 years older than I am. So yeah, she's 8 years older, just about 7 or 8 years older. And my stepbrother never like actually lived with us. So which was good because it just created different dynamics and things. And yeah, but him and I have a great relationship. He has two great kids, and is, living his best life out in California, out in wine country.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds like.
Sonoma. Yep.
I think Sarah and Joel could use some wine right about now.
Ooh.
Come into there.
Fill my cup, please.
Yeah,
That's always good. That's some serious shift work.
Yeah, we're not sharing what's in the fridge for when we're done with the broadcast.
Well, they'll need it. You'll need it when this is done. So, Vern, I'm interested to hear from you about something that I always think about asking people who are connected to the Williams syndrome community. Can you tell us like things that you enjoy about your brother?
Yeah, one of the biggest things we've bonded over our entire lives is music. He played piano growing up, and I played the drums growing up. Shout out to drums, Brendan.
Yes, sir.
Drummers gotta stick together. But no, music has always brought us together. Anytime I'm driving him anywhere, he's grabbing aux, or I'm grabbing aux, and we're listening to music. We have our favorites from all the way back in childhood. He used to listen to a ton of NSYNC growing up, and so he put me onto that. Backstreet Boys as well, and that's always been something we bonded over. Sometimes I'll just go into his room and start playing music and just chill or take a nap, and he'll be vibing along with me. But he's also just the most fun and like laugh. Like he has the most boisterous laugh I know out of anyone else. And so being able to enjoy laugh with him, or like at family events or functions, he's always like the center of attention because people love talking to him, and seeing that out of him, and the love that he gets from family and his friends for that is just so like rewarding to me as a sibling, like to see that out of my brother. And then also to just enjoy those moments with him myself, whether we're just fooling around or goofing off. It's like those small moments that really mean the most to me.
Yeah, I know. There is something, I don't know if they talked about it on the show at all today, doing their Williams weekend for Williams, but there's like an attraction, right? Like our people can just command a room, a space that they go into, and they emit this energy that is so lovely. And you just wish that there was like a great way to explain it to people who don't have it in their lives. But when you do have it in your life, you know what we're talking about. So hopefully everybody that's listening today feels that and can see that in their own person. Is there anything that you wish you could take away from Prannoy's journey? Like any struggles or things that are burdens for him?
Yeah, I'll say one of the biggest things is, I guess more physically, he doesn't have anything outright, but just his like hand-eye coordination and dexterity, it makes certain things hard. Like, it probably won't be he probably won't ever be able to drive himself around. Sometimes small, minute things, like if he has to, like last weekend, he had to adjust some screws on his phone case, and it took him a really long time, and he got really frustrated.
Yeah.
And it really got to him that day, just because he eventually had to buy a new phone case. And so small things like that sometimes get to him. It's something that I wish I could do something about. But it's been something he's been dealing with for a long time. I think also he does have like, yeah, pretty common with Williams, like gastrointestinal issues that have been bugging him for a pretty long time. So us being prepared on family vacations, or when if we're flying on a plane, that's just been something we've incorporated in that whole preparation. And I know it's not any fun for him at all. Sometimes having to run to the bathroom every 30, 40 minutes. I wish I could do
Mhm.
something about it, but he has a GI doctor who's on top of it, and she's been awesome with that. So those are probably the two biggest things that we're, just dealing with and managing with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there's amazing things that come with Williams syndrome, and so many of us know what those are, but there are some challenging things too. Stella and I are getting ready to go on a trip to Japan on a school trip. And yeah, I was just like thinking about like 20 hours on a plane. How are we going to manage that? And not only like managing the complexities that we all face of being on a plane for 20 hours, but like making sure she doesn't have swelling, and making sure that we have like, the ability to support her if she does like have GI stuff that comes up. And there's a lot that you have to think through when you are supporting, these people to live their best life. That's good though. He doesn't sound like he has too many like severe health problems though.
Yeah, we've been lucky. Nothing too crazy or severe. Everything is pretty much managed at this point. And it's also
Great.
just preparation for the future with anything that may pop up. But we're blessed and lucky that we're managing it.
Yeah, well, for anybody who's listening and they go, I need to be on this call, tell us about how they can link up with you and be on the sibling support group.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're part of the Family Support Network. So if you look up WSA Family Support Network, you'll find a calendar of upcoming meetings. Our virtual meetings are once a month, usually around at the end of the month, and we're on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. There's a Zoom link you can sign up for. You can also reach out to me. My contact info is in the description of that. I'd love to speak with anyone who's interested in joining or has questions about the group or questions about being a sibling. But I invite everyone to look up WSAFSN if you're interested, and check out the Adult Siblings group.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you're part of the community. And I think it's surprising sometimes when you meet somebody with Williams syndrome and they're like, I'm not really connected to the community, because there are so many resources that are amazing and life-changing for not only people with Williams syndrome, but the rest of us who support them. So I'm glad that you're doing some of that work too. Thank you.
Yeah, the Williams Syndrome Association has been amazing, and I'm so blessed to be working with them, and happy to be involved and celebrating Awareness Month.
Yes, what better way, right?
Time to be involved. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Oh goodness. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It's super fun, and I hope to see you in Buffalo. Will we see you? Will we see you at a convention?
I will absolutely be making my way up to Buffalo, weathering the cold up there, and connecting with everyone up there for convention. Yeah.
Yeah, because did you go to Arizona? I don't think I met you there.
I wasn't able to go to Arizona, so I'm marking on my calendar, blocking everything off. I'm definitely gonna hit up Buffalo.
You're gonna brace. I love how you're like, I will brace the cold.
I'll be strong. No.
It's July, man. It's going to be in July.
It's gonna be in July, dude.
Buffalo in July is going to be gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'm used to Carolina summers at this point, Joel. I know I said I was from Jersey, but that's long gone.
Yeah.
I guess it might be chilly by Niagara Falls, but one thing to quick mention, people who are listening or watching this podcast when it gets released on Tuesday, you can still give, and it will count towards our May total. We have a little time there. It's pretty just fine. You guys, we have lots of wonderful comments going on.
Okay, love it.
While you were a lot of Ben Moncaba. Ben Moncaba had like wonderful running commentary while you were at it. He was talking about how it was hard for him and his brother, but as they got older, they started getting along more. and they get along well. They talked about love. Ben of course loves the boys and Taylor Swift. Pim brought up, we had Kelly Williams and Varun. I'll introduce you to Kelly at some point. Kelly she's a sibling. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist. She's awesome, and we're going to be starting to do a lot of work with her. But her sibling, her brother Michael, passed away some years ago, but she still carries that sibling experience, obviously. And it's really wonderful. And she was talking about, and it kind of speaks to some of what you were saying, talking about that constant alertness that you have when you are with your brother. It's like your head is always on a swivel, no matter what, even if they're in the most safest environment ever. It's like, nope, I'm always looking, always watching.
Yeah.
So, this was awesome. Yeah, you can go to williams-syndrome.org/support groups and find out information. Ben Monkeva, yes, hi Ben, we love you, Ben. We love you,
Yes,
Ben Monkeva.
Ben, buddy, my buddy.
Yep.
For 20 years.
Croutons for Ben, croutons and hearts. Varun, can't thank you enough for joining us today. I'm so glad that you were able to take some time out of your Saturday and join us. And then I'm so happy that it worked out that timing wise that you were able to join us for the podcast.
This is great.
It's just so great. Like Jen said, we love having you as part of the extended, just part of the volunteer family. Not just obviously as a member of the community, as the volunteer family. So awesome, buddy. Thank you so much for joining us. And hearts to you. It's not doing my automatic hearts because, but yeah. One last, any last words for the people out there, Varun?
Nothing too crazy. It's a privilege to be working with y'all, and never imagined I'd be on the the podcast myself. But shout out to everything that Williams Syndrome Association is doing. Everyone go ahead and support. May is our month. Let's make it awesome.
Yay. Thank you.
Text weekend to 717.
Text weekend to 7177. All right. Thank you, Varun. We will talk to you later, buddy.
All right. Hearts and croutons, everyone.
Hearts and croutons. Take care. Okay.
Hi, I'm Morgan Jane Starkman from Inner Sense Organic Beauty, and I'm so excited to share something that I love, our Hair Renew Scalp Hair Bath and Soothing Conditioner. Soothes my hair and soothes my scalp irritation. These products leave my scalp feeling truly calm, and they make me feel confident and cared for, and I think you'll love them too. Let's take care of our scalp and hair together. Try them today and save 15% on your first purchase with my code Morgan15 at InnerSenseBeauty.com.
Real quick, want to give a shout out to Taden Larson. He's been watching this whole time, and he was just like, "Hey, can I get a shout out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you can get a shout out." I just needed to say goodbye.
My buddy.
I wanted to need to say goodbye to Varun first.
No, we need to have some shout out times for people.
Sure, we can. We have like 5 minutes before our next guest come on.
Shout out.
Taden gets a shout out.
Starbucks. You want to shout out Starbucks?
Shout out to J Chap for door dashing us Starbucks.
Yeah, Jen Chaplin.
So cheers.
J Chap. This is an iced horchata oat shaken espresso. Oat milk shaken espresso.
It's delicious.
It's so good.
Shout out to my sister Sarah and my stepbrother Ryan. Love you guys.
Chris McClung, who friend of the pod, Chris McClung. Chris McClung got to meet Callie Truelove earlier today, and has really kind of been spending the day telling us how excited he was that he.
Yep, how honored he was. Yep.
Yeah. How's your tally looking here?
What's that?
How's your tally looking over here?
There you go. I was just about to give Joel a new number.
Okay.
All right. The new number is okay. Let me get it. Okay.
Well,
Can we get a rudimentary drum roll?
Oh yes.
Boop, boop. That number is okay. All right, here it is. I'm gonna turn. Hold on, I gotta turn TikTok around so that they can see.
Please.
It's been an excellent May.
All right, here we go. The number is 86,305.
That is
I should
amazing.
not. I can't write like that, but I gotta go me.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's oof. That's
We have 4 hours to go. We have 2 power hours coming up in that, and they're big matches. So we've got some excitement happening.
all right. Jen and Brendan, here. Oh, hold on. While I'm doing this, Jen, you have just the greatest trip. I'm so
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm so excited to hear about it. I'm so excited for everything you and Stella get to experience, and frankly, everyone else on the trip.
I
So
hope so.
travel safe. We love you. We love you. Love you. Love you.
all. Thank you guys for all the work that you're doing, and
Yes.
thank you to the community for donating to such an important organization in all of our lives. And may God be with you in these next 5 hours. How many?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
May be with you.
We're at coffee. This for me. This is coffee number 3 and Coca-Cola number 4.
And we're about to order dinner.
And we
in
got
our
dinner
2-minute
coming up.
transition. So here we go.
This is a great time. God, if we only had a sponsor food wise, right?
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And of course, Pim has been with us the whole time.
Wait.
And
We love you, Pim. Love you so much. Yes, and I will make sure Jen and Stella share their experience on the pod when they get back. All right. So, Brendan, love you, buddy. And
Love you too. And I'll stick around to be in the chat. So
yeah. So we will see you all later. Thank you to everyone for.
This has been the Starry-Eyed Podcast, presented by the Williams Syndrome Association. The show is hosted by Jennifer Keaton and Brendan Lemieux, and produced by me, Joel Listman. Theme song by Tommy Barbarella and Mariella Elm. Got a question for the show? Email us at podcast@williams-syndrome.org or message us at the Starry-Eyed Podcast page on Facebook. Video version of the podcast available on the Williams Syndrome Association channel on YouTube or on Facebook. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or comment on the video version, and maybe it will be featured on a future episode. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Starry-Eyed Podcast wherever you get your podcast delights.